Hi students, first of all I welcome you all to my ninth video on the chapter P block elements. In the previous video we discussed sulfur and its compounds, wherein we studied sulfur dioxide, preparation and properties, and also structure of sulfur dioxide. Apart from that, you studied sulfuric acid, preparation and properties of sulfuric acid. Now at this moment, we have last topic in group 16, that is oxyacids of sulfur. That is the next discussion. Oxyacids are the acids containing oxygen atom. Here I am going to discuss the structure of the oxyacids of sulfur. Okay, na? That is first oxyacid is sulfurous acid. That is sulfurous acid. Formula is H2SO3 there. This is one of the oxyacids of sulfur there, sulfurous acid. As far as oxyacids are concerned, we are supposed to study basicity of oxyacid, oxidation number of central atom, right? In the case of H2SO3, oxidation number of acid sulfur is to be calculated, that is X and oxygen is -2 and it is 3, that's equal to 0. Oxidation number of hydrogen is +1 into 2 hydrogen atoms. X is the oxidation number of sulfur, oxygen -2 oxidation state into 3, therefore X is equal to +4. This is oxidation number of sulfur in H2SO3. And in all oxyacids, sulfur of the oxyacids will be sp3 hybridized. Whatever the oxyacids that I am discussing here is, in all the cases, sulfur is sp3 hybridized. And because of that, I can expect, yes, it is 4 groups to be distributed around sulfur. I can expect 4 groups to be distributed around sulfur in a tetrahedral fashion. Is it not? This is in a tetrahedral fashion. We have 3 oxygen atoms, they are attached to, yes, it is sulfur like this. 3 oxygen atoms are attached to sulfur like this, is it not? 2 hydrogen atoms are there. One hydrogen is attached to one oxygen, another hydrogen is attached to another oxygen like this. So this is H2SO3 there. Look here we have one oxygen with a single bond. That is where oxygen is attached to sulfur through single bond. But oxygen valency is 2 here. Therefore, to satisfy that, you maintain double bond between sulfur and oxygen just by removing this bond. Yes. So this is what we call sulfurous acid. H2SO3, where valency of oxygen is 2. In all the cases, valency of oxygen is satisfied. Illi 1 and 2. Hydrogen 1 valency satisfy ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. E bond 1 satisfy ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಇಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ valency of oxygen is 2. Here also valency of oxygen is 2. And apart from that, as far as H2SO3 is concerned, how many valence electrons are there in H2SO3 ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, hydrogen gives 2 valence electrons, ಹೌದಾ? One hydrogen 1 electron ಕೊಟ್ಟರೆ 2 hydrogens will give 2 electrons. Sulfur gives 6 electrons. Oxygen gives 6 electrons, and we have 3 oxygen atoms. Totally 26 valence electrons are there. Out of 26, 4 valence electrons here, 2 here, 2 here, 8 electrons. 8 electrons are involved in bonding. To satisfy the octet configuration, oxygen will have 4 more electrons. Octet configuration satisfy ಮಾಡಿ. ಇಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ octet configuration satisfy ಮಾಡಿ. ಇಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ octet configuration satisfy ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಓಕೆನಾ, ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ನೋಡಿ. ಇಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಏನಿದೆ, we have electrons, is it not? This is also, we have 2 more electrons, right? This is 2 more electrons ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ ತಾನೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಔಟ್ ಆಫ್ 26 electrons ನೋಡಿ, 8 electrons here, ಹೌದಾ? 8 electrons ಇಲ್ಲಿದೆ. 12, 16, 20, 22, 24. ಟೋಟಲ್ 24 electrons ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಇನ್ನು 2 electrons ಇಲ್ಲಿದೆ. They are of course in the form of lone pairs. In 2 electrons will be in the form of lone pairs. That's why the structure of sulfurous acid will be like this. 2 electrons will be lone pairs. So this is what we call it as structure of sulfurous acid, where we have 2 OH bonds, is it not? Here we have 2 OH bonds. Therefore, basicity of sulfurous acid is 2. That is basicity of sulfurous acid is yes it is 2 there, because we have two OH groups attached to the sulfur with the lone pairs on the sulfur there. This is what we call it as structure of sulfurous acid. Agudala. Now at this moment, we'll go to the structure of sulfuric acid. One more oxy acid of, yes it is sulfur, that will be structure of sulfuric acid. Yes. Here also, the sulfur atom is sp3 hybridized. Here also sulfur atom is sp3 hybridized. Formula is H2SO4. Avada? If I say H2SO4, yes, what is the oxidation number of sulfur anta kelidre? Hydrogen plus 1 into 2, sulfur X, oxygen minus 2 into 4, that's equal to 0. Therefore, X is equal to plus 6. That is the oxidation number of sulfur in sulfuric acid. Sulfur is sp3 hybridized. The central atom is sulfur. Attached to the remaining groups, it is in tetrahedral fashion. Attached to the remaining groups in tetrahedral fashion. 4 oxygen atoms are there. You just attach 4 oxygen atoms to the sulfur like this. Now then, 2 hydrogen atoms are there. 1 hydrogen is attached to this. Oxygen valency 2 satisfy ಆಯಿತು. ಇಲ್ಲೊಂದು ಹೈಡ್ರೋಜನ್ ಅಟ್ಯಾಚ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ ವೇಲೆನ್ಸಿ 2 satisfy ಆಯಿತು. ಬಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ 1 ವೇಲೆನ್ಸಿ ಇದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ 1 ವೇಲೆನ್ಸಿ ಇದೆ. ಹೌದಾ? To satisfy the valency of oxygen as 2, you write one more bond like this. You write one more bond like this. This is what we call structure of sulfuric acid, where we have 2 OH groups. Because of that, basicity of yes it is sulfuric acid is also 2 there. Basicity of sulfuric acid is also 2 there. So this is what we call it as yes it is structure of yes it is sulfuric acid. Structure of sulfuric acid with 2 S2O double bonds. Okay na? Agudala? This is structure of sulfuric acid. Apart from that, as per your NCERT textbook, you are supposed to study 2 more oxy acids, that is peroxo, yes it is disulfuric acid. Peroxo disulfuric acid. Whenever there is a peroxo, ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಆಸಿಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ peroxo ಅಂತ ವರ್ಡ್ ಇದ್ರೆ, that acid must contain direct linkage between 2 oxygen atoms. Then only we can say that peroxides alli there is a direct linkage between 2 oxygen atoms. Ee tara direct linkage irtade. Peroxo disulfuric acid. What I will do first, I write the structure of sulfuric acid first. I write the structure of sulfuric acid. Yes, it is sulfuric acid. 1 molecule of sulfuric acid. You write one more molecule of yes it is sulfuric acid. Yes, this is one more molecule of sulfuric acid, right? This is one more molecule of sulfuric acid. Two sulfuric acid molecules ಬರ್ತಿದ್ದೀನಿ. Yes, between 2 sulfuric acid there must be a peroxide linkage. Peroxide linkage is what? Yes, it is direct linkage between 2 oxygen atoms. Therefore, you just link these 2 oxygen atoms through single bonds. Just link these 2 oxygen atoms through single bonds. So this is what we call it as peroxo disulfuric acid. This is what we call it as peroxo disulfuric acid. 2 OH groups are there. Therefore, it is basicity is 2. Therefore, basicity of the acid is 2 because it contains yes it is 2 OH groups. What is the oxidation number of sulfur in this case anta kelidre? That your just observe 2 hydrogen atoms are there, therefore plus 1 into 2 ಆಯ್ತು. ಹೌದಾ? ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ atoms ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ ನೋಡಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ? 8 ಇದೆ. ಹೌದಾ? Out of 8 oxygen atoms, 2 oxygen atoms are involved in peroxide linkage. ಹೌದಾ? 6 oxygen atoms ಅಲ್ಲಿ 2 peroxide linkages ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ oxidation number of oxygen in peroxide is -1 into 2. 2 oxygen atoms are involved in peroxide linkage, therefore it is -1 into 2 plus remaining 6 oxygen atoms, their oxidation number is -2 as usual. That's equal to 0. Therefore, of course, plus 2 sulfur atoms are there. That is plus 2x. That's equal to 0. Therefore, 2x equals plus 2 minus 2 cancel ಆದರೆ -12 ಹಾಕಿದ್ರೆ yes it is plus 12 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Therefore, oxidation number is plus 6. This is oxidation number of sulfur in peroxo disulfuric acid. Peroxo ಅಂದ ತಕ್ಷಣ you must remember direct linkage between 2 oxygen atoms through single bond. This is peroxo disulfuric acid. Apart from that, you are supposed to study one more oxy acid, that is pyrodisulfuric acid. That is pyrosulfuric acid. That is pyrosulfuric acid. Just like pyrophosphoric acid, we have pyrosulfuric acid. Yes, pyrosulfuric acid, that is obtained by heating. Yes, it is two sulfuric acid molecules. When two sulfuric acid molecules are heated, then a molecule of water is removed. I already told you that while discussing. Yes, it is pyrophosphoric acid. ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೆ ನಾನು ಎರಡು sulfuric acid molecules ಇದೆ. When the sulfuric acid is heated, the molecule of water is taken out. Pyro means heating. If I remove this water from this, you will left with what? The water remove ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಉಳಿಯೋದೇನು? Yes, it is you left with one oxygen. ಹೌದಾ? You left with one oxygen. This is what we call it as pyrosulfuric acid. Okay, now this is pyrosulfuric acid. And of course, in pyrosulfuric acid, oxidation number of sulfur ನೋಡಿ, ಎರಡು ಸಲ್ಫರ್ ಆಟಮ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ, 2x ಅಂತ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಎರಡು ಹೈಡ್ರೋಜನ್ ಇದೆ, +1 × 2 ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ 7 ಇದೆ, -2 × 7 ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ, and of course this is 2x is equal to +12 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, -14 +2, therefore x is equal to +6. Here also oxidation number of sulfur is +6. Here also basicity is 2 because of OH groups there. Therefore, basicity of acid is 2 there. This is what we call it as pyrosulfuric acid. This is peroxodisulfuric acid. Peroxodisulfuric acid only when the peroxide linkage irtade, but here it is. Yes, it is no peroxide linkage, but two sulfur atoms are linked through sulfur there. Yes, so this is what we call it as pyrosulfuric acid and peroxodisulfuric acid, and respective oxidation states of the central atom and basicities of the acids. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ, ನಾನು ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಒಂದು ಕ್ಲಾಸಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನು ನಿಮಗೆ ತಿಳಿಸ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಇನ್ ಆಕ್ಸಿ acids we generally use some terms like ಆರ್ಥೋ, ಮೆಟಾ, ಪೈರೋ, ಹೈಪೋ, ಈ ತರ ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಹೌದಾ? We use the terms like that is ortho, and it is meta, and it is pyro, and it is hypo. ಹೌದಾ? ಜೊತೆಗೆ we use the term like per. ಈ terms ಅನ್ನು ನಾವು ಬಳಸ್ತೀವಿ, especially in the case of oxy acids of some non-metals, right? ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ಈ ಟರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಏನನ್ನ ಅರ್ಥ ಕೊಡುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ, what's the meaning of these terms? ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು ಕೂಡ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಮೀನಿಂಗ್ ನಿಮಗೆ ಕ್ಲಾರಿಫೈ ಮಾಡಿ ಮುಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ತೀನಿ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ದಟ್ ಮೇ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಯು ಟು ರೈಟ್ ದ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ಒನ್ ಆರ್ ದಿ ಅದರ್ ವೇ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಆರ್ಥೋ ಒಂದು ಕ್ಯೂರಿಯಾಸಿಟಿ ಇದ್ದೇ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಆರ್ಥೋ ಯಾಕೆ ಬರೆದ್ರು? ಆರ್ಥೋ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಕ್ ಕೆಮಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬಳಸ್ತೇವೆ, ಬಟ್ ಇನ್ಆರ್ಗ್ಯಾನಿಕ್ ಕೆಮಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಆರ್ಥೋ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಕೋರ್ಸ್ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಟ್ರೂ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್, ಟ್ರೂ ಆಕ್ಸಿ ಆಸಿಡ್ ಅಂತ ಅದು ಮೀನಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಟರ್ಮ್, ಟ್ರೂ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು. ಓಕೆನಾ? ಅಂಡ್ as far as ಆರ್ಥೋ is concerned, we have yes, it is H3PO4, that is orthophosphoric acid. ಹೌದಾ? ಹಾಗೇನೆ H3, yes, it is BO3 ಅಂತ ಇದೆ, that is H3BO3, that is orthoboric acid. ಹಾಗೇನೆ H4SiO4, orthosalicylic acid ಅಂತ ಇದೆ. This is orthophosphoric acid. Yes, this is orthophosphoric acid. ಹೌದಾ? This is orthoboric acid. Yes, this is orthoboric acid. This is orthosilicic acid ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು. ಓಕೆನಾ? These are all ortho acids. They are the true acids where the central atom is in usual oxidation state. ಈ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಆರ್ಥೋ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಬಳಸಿರ್ತೀವೋ ಅಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲದೂ ಕೂಡ central atom is in usual oxidation state. Phosphorus is in its usual oxidation state +5. Boron is in usual oxidation state +3. Here it is silicon is in its usual oxidation state +4 here. ಈ ತರ ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, if the central atom of the oxy acid is in its usual oxidation state, then we use the term ortho there. Yes, ಅದ್ರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಮೆಟಾ ಅಂತ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ look at this, from this, yes, it is orthophosphoric acid ಇಂದ if I remove water, yes, orthophosphoric acid ಇಂದ ವಾಟರ್ ರಿಮೂವ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅವಾಗ ಉಳಿಯೋದೇನು ಗೊತ್ತಾ? HPO3 ಅಂತ ಉಳಿತದೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ H2O ತೆಗೆದ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಏನು ಉಳಿತದೆ? HPO3 ಉಳಿತದೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ H2O ತೆಗೆದ್ಬಿಡಿ, -H2O ತೆಗೆದ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಏನು ಉಳಿತದೆ? you are going to get, yes, it is HPO2 ಉಳಿತದೆ. ಹೌದಾ? ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ H2O ತೆಗೆದ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ you will have with H2SiO3. ಹೌದಾ? ನೋಡಿ ನಾನೇನ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ, ಈ ಫಾಸ್ಫರಿಕ್ ಆಸಿಡ್, ಆರ್ಥೋಬೋರಿಕ್ ಆಸಿಡ್, ಆರ್ಥೋಸಿಲಿಸಿಲಿಕ್ ಆಸಿಡ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ, ಒಂದು ವಾಟರ್ ತೆಗೆದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟೆ. ತೆಗೆದಾಗ you left with yes it is HPO3. This is called as metaphosphoric acid. This is metaphosphoric acid. Andre I use the term meta for the given acid if that acid is obtained by removing water from the corresponding IC acid. That is orthophosphoric acid in the H2O ತೆಗೆದ್ರೆ then use the term metaphosphoric acid. Here it is metaboric acid. Yes, here it is metasilicic acid. Then if the acid is obtained by removing water from the corresponding IC acid. Corresponding IC acid ಅಂದ್ರೆ phosphoric acid, here it is boric acid, here it is silicic acid. ಆವಾಗ ಮೆಟಾ ಅಂತ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಮೆಟಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮೀನಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಮೆಟಾ ಇಸ್ ಸ್ಮಾಲೆಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. ಮೀನಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಮೆಟಾ ಇಸ್ ಸ್ಮಾಲೆಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಸ್ಮಾಲರ್ ದ್ಯಾನ್ ದಿಸ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ, HPO3 is smaller than this. ಹೌದಾ, ಹಾಗಾಗಿ yes it is metaphosphoric acid ಅಂತ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಹಾಗೇನೆ yes it is we use the term like pyro, already ಹೇಳಿದೀನಿ. Pyro is used if the acid is obtained by heating a particular oxalic acid. Pyro is used if an acid is obtained by heating a particular acid, ಹೌದಾ, and that can be obtained by removing water between yes it is two oxyacids. ಹೌದಾ, ಈಗ ನೋಡಿ I use the term hypo ಅಂತ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಹೈಪೋ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒರಿಜಿನಲ್ ಮೀನಿಂಗ್ ಇಸ್ ಅಂಡರ್ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. ಒರಿಜಿನಲ್ ಮೀನಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ಹೈಪೋ ಇಸ್ ಅಂಡರ್ ಅಂತ. ಈಗ ನೋಡಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ಒಂದು ಆಸಿಡ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕ್ಲೋರಸ್ ಆಸಿಡ್ ಅಂತ ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಇದರ ಫಾರ್ಮುಲಾ ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ HClO2 is a chlorous acid and corresponding, you remove one oxygen from this, then you are going to get yes it is HClO. This is what we call it as hypochlorous acid. That is hypochlorous acid. Hypo acids can be obtained, yes, hypo acids can be obtained by removing one oxygen from the corresponding OUS acid. ಈ ಆಸಿಡ್ ಇಂದ ಒಂದು ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, then you are going to get hypo under this. ಓಕೆನಾ? ಹಾಗೆ ನೋಡಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ H3PO3 ಇದೆ, ಹೌದಾ, ಇದು ಫಾಸ್ಫರಸ್ ಆಸಿಡ್. ಇದರಿಂದ ಒಂದು ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ ತೆಗೆದ್ಬಿಡಿ, ಅವಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ H2 yes it is H3PO2 ಬರ್ತದೆ. ಇದು H3PO3 ಫಾಸ್ಫರಸ್ ಆಸಿಡ್, ಆರ್ಥೋಫಾಸ್ಫರಸ್ ಆಸಿಡ್. ಇದರಿಂದ ಒಂದು ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ ತೆಗೆದ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ H3PO2 ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಈಗ hypophosphorus acid. This is a phosphorus acid obtained by removing one oxygen from this. And generally in hypo acids, oxidation number of the central atom in the hypo acids will be less. In this case oxidation number is +1. In this case oxidation number is +3. In hypo acids the oxidation numbers of the yes it is the central atom will be less than the oxidation of the central atom of corresponding acid. Yes, so this is what we call it as yes it is hypo ಅಂತ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಟರ್ಮ್ ಇದೆ ಪರ್ ಅಂತ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಲ್ವಾ. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಪರ್ಕ್ಲೋರಿಕ್ ಆಸಿಡ್, ಪರ್ಮಾಂಗನಿಕ್ ಆಸಿಡ್ ಈ ತರ ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಹೌದಾ. ಈಗ ನೋಡಿ ಒಂದು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ. ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಒನ್ ಕಾಂಪೌಂಡ್ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕ್ಲೋರಿಕ್ ಆಸಿಡ್ ಅಂತ ಇದೆ. ಇದ್ರ ಫಾರ್ಮುಲಾ ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ HClO3. ಎಸ್, ಯು ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಒನ್ ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ ಆಟಮ್ ಟು ದಿಸ್. ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ಆಕ್ಸಿಜನ್ ಆಟಮ್ ಆಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ HClO4 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. And this is chloric acid and it will be perchloric acid. ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತು ಅನ್ಕೋತೀನಿ. ಎಸ್, this is chloric acid HClO3. Add one oxygen atom to it and you are going to get perchloric acid. This is chloric acid and it will be yes it is perchloric acid. ಅಥವಾ in the case of perchloric acid oxidation number of chlorine is +7. In the case of chloric acid oxidation number is +5. Means perchloric acid the oxidation number of the central atom is greater than the oxidation number of the central atom of corresponding IC acid. Then we use the term per. ಇನ್ನೊಂದಿದೆ ನೋಡಿ, that is H2MnO4 ಅಂತ ಇದೆ, that is manganic acid we call it as. ಇದರ ಹೆಸರೇನು manganic acid ಅಂತ ಕರೀತೀವಿ. And we have one more that is HMnO4. This is permanganic acid. This is permanganic acid. Your oxidation number of central atom is +7. Here it is +6. Now if I use the word term per, the oxidation number of central atom is more than the oxidation number of central atom of corresponding IC acid. So this is what we call it as the pur, hypo, meta, ortho, and of course pyro. So ಈ ಟರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ನಿಮಗೆ ಪರಿಚಯ ಇದ್ರೆ ಏನಾದರೂ ಕೆಲವು ಡಿಸಿಷನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ತಗೊಳ್ಳಕ್ಕೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನಿಮಗೆ ಹೇಳಬೇಕಾಯ್ತು. That completes. Yes, it is group 16 there. Yes. Okay, we'll come to the one more group of elements in P block, that will be group 17 elements. They are called as halogens. Halo means sea water. These elements can be obtained from sea water. Because of that, they are called as halogens. Just like, group 15 was called as nicosins, group 16 was called as chalcosins, and of course here it is halogens. Group 17 will be called as halogens. As far as halogens are concerned, known for high reactivity, right? Known for high reactivity. We have here the members of the group 17 will be fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, and astatine. Astatine is a radioactive element, yes. And as usual, in order to remember the group 17 elements in the order, here I got one mnemonics. Look at that, first class brand, indina avashyakate. First class brand, indina avashyakate anta ನೀವು ನೆನ್ಪಿಟ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಈ ಆರ್ಡರ್ ನೆನ್ಪಿಟ್ಕೋಬಹುದು. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಎಫ್ ಫ್ಲೋರಿನ್, ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಕ್ಲೋರಿನ್, ಬ್ರ್ಯಾಂಡ್ BR ಬ್ರೋಮಿನ್, ಇಂದಿನ iodine, ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ AT, is it not? That will be astatine. So these are the, yes it is, this is the mnemonics that I can go for in order to remember this particular, yes it is group 17 elements. Symbol is of course F, and it is Cl, and it will be BR, and it will be I, and of course it will be AT there. This is what we call it as symbols of the elements. Atomic number is as usual 9 there. Add 8 to it, that will be 17. Add 18 to it, it will be 35. Add 18 to it, it will be 53. Add 32, it will be 85. I said already, two successive members of the given group differ by the atomic number either 2 or 8 or 18 or 32. This is what we call magic numbers. Same formula I applied here. I added 8 to the 9, 17. 18 to the 17, 35. 18 to the 35, 53. 32 to the 53. Then you are going to get 85. This is atomic numbers of, yes it is group 17 elements. Also, as usual, you are supposed to write, yes it is electronic configuration. You are supposed to write electronic configuration, yes. And of course here, as far as chlorine is concerned, here it is helium configuration, that accounts for 2 electrons. Then it will be 2s2 2p5. This is total 9 electrons. And of course, look at this, in the case of fluorine, we have 2s2 2p5. And therefore, I can't expect 2d in the case of D or in the case of fluorine, because second main shell doesn't contain D subshell. Therefore, yes it is 2d not observed in the case of, yes it is fluorine. Just keep it in mind, there is a non-availability of D orbitals in the valence shell, yes. Whereas in the case of chlorine, it will be, yes it is neon, yes. Neon accounts for 10 electrons, remaining 7 will be 3s2, and it is 3p5. This is the electronic configuration of chlorine there. And here it is argon, that accounts for 18 electrons. Then we have 3d10, that 10 plus 18, 28. Then it will be 4s2, and it will be 4p5. This is electronic configuration of bromine here. Then it will be krypton there, yes it is. Then it will be 4d10. Krypton accounts for 36 electrons, plus 10, 46. Then it is, yes it is 5s2 here. Then it will be 5s2, and of course 5p5. 36 plus 10, 46 plus 48 plus 5, 53 there. Then it will be, yes it is xenon, that accounts for 54 electrons. Then we have 4f14, 54 plus 14, 68. Then it will be 5d10, 68. Then it will be 6s2, yes it is 54 plus, yes it is 14, 68 plus 10, 78, 80, and of course 6p5. This is what we call it as electronic configuration, yes. On the basis of electronic configuration of group 17 elements, I can conclude that the general electronic configuration of the group 17 elements will be, yes it is Ns2np5 in its valence shell, yes. And look at this, if I move from fluorine to iodine, electron enters new main shell. That point to be properly noticed. If I move from fluorine to astatine, electron enters new main shell. Here it is the second main shell, third main shell, fourth main shell, fifth main shell and sixth main shell. That means the number of shells will be, yes, it is increased. If the number of shells increases, atomic size increases. Therefore, on moving from fluorine to astatine, atomic size increases. Atomic size increases, and that is what we call it as group 17 elements. And out of 7 electrons in the valence shell, and of course we have 2 electrons which will be paired up, and out of 5 electrons in p subshell. Look at this. You just follow the Hund's rule, and of course this is how 5 electrons will be filled in p subshell, and this is 2 electrons in ns subshell. Therefore, we'll have only 1 unpaired electrons. Only 1 unpaired electron in the, yes, it is valence shell of group 17 elements, and of course there are 7 electrons in the valence shell. Because of that, halogens have that high tendency of gaining 1 electron there. We have ns2, np5 ಇದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ? If it takes 1 electron, it becomes what? ns2, np6, and to attain ns2, np6 configuration, that is noble gas configuration, halogens will try to attain 1 electron, will try to gain 1 electron from other species to become X minus. Therefore, halogens readily form X minus ions, and they are known as halides. They readily form X minus ions, and they are known as halides. Chlorine form chloride, fluorine form fluoride, bromide, iodide, is it not? And of course, astatine is a radioactive element, and we don't bother the chemistry of astatine in the group 17 elements. Okay, now, so this is what we call it as some information, and as far as group 17 elements are concerned. And at the same time, yes, as far as group 17 elements are concerned, they are available in the nature in various forms. For example, if I take that fluorine is available in the form of calcium fluoride, and it is called as fluorspar. Yes, it is. This is known as fluorspar. One of the minerals of calcium, that is one of the minerals of acid calcium, that is in the form of fluoride, calcium fluoride. Apart from that, we have Na3, Al, F6, and of course it is cryolite, we call it as, that is cryolite. One of the minerals of acid is aluminium. You use this cryolite in, yes, it is what we call it as extraction of aluminium, is it not? That is cryolite. Yes, and apart from that, we have, yes, it is fluorine in the form of, yes, it is, that is Ca3, yes, it is PO4 twice, and it is CaF2. You already know this, that is fluorapatite. One of the members of apatite family, that is fluorapatite. Fluorine is available in the form of fluorapatites. Apart from that, this fluorine is available in teeth, bones also, right? In teeth and bones also. That is what we call it as occurrence of chlorine. Occurrence of fluorine. If it comes to the question of chlorine, and of course bromine, and of course iodine, these elements are available in seawater in the form of halides, chloride, sodium chloride, potassium chloride, magnesium chloride. In seawater, these elements are available in the form of, yes, it is the halides of, yes, it is magnesium, like that magnesium halide, calcium halide, and of course sodium halide, and of course potassium halide. X may be Cl, Br, and iodine. Then that is the main, yes, it is the occurrence of chlorine, bromine, and iodine. Apart from that, this chlorine is available in the form of, yes, it is cornolite, that is KCl, MgCl2, 6H2O. This is what we call one of the minerals of, yes, it is potassium, and of course in the form of chloride there. This is also the mineral, one of the forms of chlorine there. Chlorine is available in the form of cornolite. This is cornolite, one of the minerals of, yes, it is calcium and magnesium there. A double salt we call it as. This is cornolite. Apart from that, as far as, yes, it is iodine is concerned, iodine is available in the form of, yes, it is sodium iodate. Iodine is available in the form of sodium iodate. In chili saltpeter, that is NaNO3. Chili saltpeter andre sodium nitrate. In sodium nitrate, iodine is available in the form of, yes, it is sodium iodate. Yes, and of course even this bromium, yes, it is also available in the form of, yes, it is bromides there, in the form of bromides in seawater. So these are the acetics, the occurrence of acetic halogens in nature. Yes, as per your NCERT textbook, we are supposed to study the general properties of group 17 elements, or you can say that the general trends involved in the properties of group 17 elements, right? And as usual, we'll see that first of all, it will be, yes, it is atomic size and ionic size. This is atomic size and ionic size. And of course, as far as atomic size is concerned, that is fluorine is smaller than chlorine, chlorine is smaller than bromine, bromine is smaller than iodine. That is, on moving down the group, atomic size increases. On moving down the group, atomic size increases. This is what we call it as variation of atomic size. Fluorine being a smallest atom, and of course, iodine is so astatine is the biggest atom. So this is what we call it as, on moving down the group, atomic size increases. If I move from group number 1 to group number 18, yes, you left in the right ಹೋದ್ರೆ, from group number 1 to group number 18 ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, atomic size, yes, it is decreases, and here it is group 17. And of course, the elements of the group 17, elements of the group 17, like that is fluorine, chlorine, bromine, they are the smallest atoms in a given period. Elements of group 17, like fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, they are the smallest atoms in a given period. From left to right, atomic size decreases. And of course, even though group 18 elements we have, here in the case of group 18 elements, we don't have covalent radius. Group 18 alli, noble gases alli, we are going to express the atomic size in the form of van der Waals radius. Hagagi, van der Waals radius of group 18 elements will be greater than the corresponding elements of group 17. Hagagi, the smallest atom, the smallest element, in a given period, it will be present in group 17 only. The smallest element in a given period will be present in group 17 only. So that is what we call it as atomic size. So atomic size, yes, it is increases from fluorine to, yes, it is astatine. And of course, if I say ionization enthalpy, right? If I say ionization enthalpy, that is amount of energy required to remove one electron from the outermost shell of, yes, it is neutral gaseous isolated atom anta ನಾವು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, on moving down the group ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, atomic size, yes, it is increases. Therefore, ionization enthalpy decreases. That is, ionization enthalpy of fluorine is greater than chlorine, chlorine is greater than bromine, bromine is greater than iodine. ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಮೇಲಿಂದ ಕೆಳಗೆ ಬಂದ್ರೆ ಫ್ಲೋರಿನ್ ಇಂದ iodine ಬಂದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ionization enthalpy ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ due to, yes, it is increase in atomic size. That is known for you. If it comes to the question of third there, then of course it will be electronegativity there. It will be electronegativity, that is tendency of attracting shared pair of electrons. Electronegativity refers to tendency of attracting shared pair of electrons. I said already, electronegativity is a property of bonded atoms. Among the elements in the periodic table, fluorine seems to be highly electronegative. That is, the element with highest electronegativity is there in the case of fluorine, and that decreases down the group there. And of course, electronegativity decreases from fluorine to iodine there. Electronegativity decreases from fluorine to iodine there because atomic size increases, or the ionization enthalpy decreases. Because of that, that is electronegativity decreases from fluorine to iodine there. And of course, next it will be, yes, it is electron gain enthalpy. Yes. Next it will be electron gain enthalpy. I said, electron gain enthalpy is amount of energy liberated. Yes. When one electron is added to the neutral gaseous isolated atom, that is what we call it as electron gain enthalpy. Yes. If I add one electron to the neutral gaseous isolated atom, then you are going to get X minus. During the addition of one electron to this neutral atom, energy will be liberated. That amount of energy liberated, yes, is called as electron gain enthalpy. I already said electron gain enthalpy will be expressed by using, yes, it is negative sign. Electron gain enthalpy will be expressed in terms of negative sign. As the amount of energy liberated increases, electron gain enthalpy also increases. I already said electron gain enthalpy is a direct measure of ability of an atom to hold extra electron, and that depends on size of the atom. As the size of the atom decreases, electron gain enthalpy increases. Because of that, the expected trend in the electron gain enthalpy values of, yes, it is halogens will be, we expect fluorine to have more electron gain enthalpy of chlorine, chlorine to have more electron gain enthalpy of bromine, and of course bromine to have more electron gain enthalpy than iodine. This is what we call it as expected trend as far as electron gain enthalpy is concerned. But actually, electron gain enthalpy of fluorine is less than chlorine. Electron gain enthalpy of fluorine is less than chlorine. The reason is quite clear. No doubt, fluorine is very small atom. Because of that, we expect fluorine to have high electron gain enthalpy. But the fluorine atom is so small that the atomic size of fluorine is so small that the incoming electron experiences the repulsion from the electrons already present in fluorine atom. Electron gain enthalpy of fluorine atom is less than chlorine because of very small size of fluorine atom. Due to small size of fluorine atom, the incoming electron faces opposition from the electrons already present in fluorine atom because fluorine atom is very small. Therefore, electron density of fluorine atom will be high. That is, valence electrons are present over the very small atom. Because of that, electron density is more. Even the electrons present in the fluorine atom, they don't have much space. They don't have much space for their stay in the atom. If extra electron is coming towards them, the electrons already present in fluorine offer repulsion to the incoming electron there. Athava, the incoming electron experiences repulsion from the electrons already present in fluorine atom. Therefore, electron gain enthalpy of fluorine decreases and it will be less than, yes it is chlorine there. Actually, electron gain enthalpy of chlorine is around, minus 350 kilojoules. Of course, as far as electron gain enthalpy of these elements are concerned, that is, electron gain enthalpy of chlorine is greater than fluorine, that is greater than bromine, and that is greater than, iodine. For your information, electron gain enthalpy of chlorine is minus 350 kilojoules per mole. Yes, this is electron gain enthalpy of chlorine, that is greater than, minus 333, kilojoules per mole. As in the case of fluorine, that is greater than minus 325 kilojoules per mole. This is what we call electron gain enthalpy of bromine, and that is greater than minus 295 kilojoules per mole. This is electron gain enthalpy. That means electron gain enthalpy of fluorine is less than, chlorine. Expected trend, we expected that fluorine to have high electron gain enthalpy, as we observed in the case of electronegativity. Yes, it is because of that very small size in the size of the fluorine atom. The incoming electron experiences repulsion from the electrons already present in fluorine atom. Because of that, tendency of accepting electrons by the fluorine decreases. It will be less than that in the case of chlorine there. And that is, I said, electronegativity is a property of bonded atom, but electron gain enthalpy is a property of isolated atom. Because of that difference you can expect. Okay, now this is what we call electron gain enthalpy and electronegativity. Yes. And now at this moment we'll go for the physical properties of group 17 elements and property number 5 there. Yes, property number 5 there. As far as fluorine and chlorine are concerned, that is F2 and Cl2, because halogen atoms are available in the form of diatomic molecules. And of course, fluorine and chlorine, they are gases, right? They are gases. And of course, if it comes to the bromine there, bromine is a liquid there, a non-metallic liquid, yes. And of course, iodine will be, it is solid there. This is what we call it as physical properties. And of course, as far as fluorine is concerned, this is yellow colored gas. Chlorine is green colored gas. This is green colored gas. Bromine is red colored liquid, and of course iodine is a violet solid, that is violet solid. This is the colors. Why do halogens exhibit color anta ನೀವು ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, that is because these halogens, when they are exposed to sunlight, they absorb radiations from the visible region of electromagnetic spectrum and thereby emit the radiations in the visible region. And of course, fluorine emits a radiation in the yellow region of the VIB/IR. Chlorine emits radiation in the green region of VIB/IR. Bromine emits radiation in the red region of VIB/IR. And so also iodine emits radiation in violet region of VIB/IR. So that is what we call it as colors of the acetate halogens. Apart from that, next it will be acetate physical and melting and boiling points. You know that melting and boiling points of fluorine to be less than chlorine, it will be less than acetate bromine, it will be less than iodine, because from fluorine to bromine and iodine atomic size increases, molecular size increases. So the atomic size and molecular sizes increases, van der Waals force of attraction increases, and thereby melting and boiling points will increase. Apart from that, you are supposed to study one important aspect, that is bond dissociation enthalpy, that is property number ST7 there, that is bond dissociation enthalpy there. And this is very, very important as far as group 17 elements are concerned. Bond dissociation enthalpy that is, if I say this is a bond between two halogen atoms and that can be broken by by supplying energy there. The amount of energy required to break 1 mole of that is a bond between two halogen atoms. I took you gaseous atoms, corresponding gaseous atom, that is what we call it as bond dissociation enthalpy. As the dissociation enthalpy, bond dissociation enthalpy decreases, reactivity increases. And of course, this bond dissociation enthalpy is the direct measure of acetate reactivity there. Bond dissociation enthalpy kadime adre energy required to break the bond decreases. Bond can be easily broken and thereby reactivity increases. And of course, that is what we call it as reactivity there. And of course, as far as expected bond dissociation enthalpy, that is, we expect that fluorine to fluorine bond to have more bond enthalpy compared to chlorine to chlorine bond. That should have more bond enthalpy compared to bromine to bromine there. That should have more bond enthalpy compared to iodine to iodine there. This is the expected acetate variation. We expect that fluorine atoms to be very, very small. Fluorine atoms tumba chikkirodrinda, they are very, very close to each other. Force of attraction will be very, very strong, and therefore we expect this fluorine to have high bond dissociation enthalpy. ಈ fluorine atoms ತುಂಬಾ ಚಿಕ್ಕಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಅದೇ ನೋಡಿ iodine ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗಿದೆ, yes it is atoms or yes it is very, very big, and of course they are far away from one another. Bond length ತುಂಬಾ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದೆ. ಈ bond length ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ bond length ತುಂಬಾ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇದೆ. The distance between two nuclei is very, very large. Therefore, this bond can be easily broken. But you cannot break this bond easily because they are very, very close to each other. Therefore, we expect fluorine to have high bond dissociation enthalpy. Fluorine ge high bond dissociation enthalpy expect ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಆದರೆ once again, for the small size of fluorine atom, yes, because of that very small size of fluorine atom ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬಾ ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಸೈಜ್ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, there is a repulsion between, yes it is lone pair of electrons for the bonded atoms. ತುಂಬಾ ಚಿಕ್ಕ atoms ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, electron density over the one atom will be very high. ಹಾಗೇನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಈ lone pair electrons ಗಳ ಮಧ್ಯೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, repulsion ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅದೇ ಕ್ಲೋರಿನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬಿಗ್ ಆಟಮ್, ಕ್ಲೋರಿನ್ ಇಸ್ ಲಿಟಲ್ ಬಿಟ್ ಬಿಗರ್ ದನ್ ಫ್ಲೋರಿನ್. ಹಾಗೇನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಇಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಲೋನ್ ಪೇರ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಲೋನ್ ಪೇರ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಆದ್ರೆ they are far away from one another. ಹಾಗೇನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, repulsion minimizes. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ repulsion is maximum between the lone pair of electrons over the bonded atoms. ಹಾಗೇನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, due to that repulsion bond becomes weak, and because of that the dissociation enthalpy of fluorine decreases. Bond dissociation enthalpy of fluorine decreases, and because of that bond dissociation enthalpy of chlorine is greater than bond dissociation enthalpy of bromine, and that is greater than bond dissociation enthalpy of fluorine, that is greater than bond dissociation enthalpy of acetate iodine there. ಈ ತರ ನೋಡಿ bond dissociation enthalpy ನಾವು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ತುಂಬಾನೇ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ಇದೇನಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ it will be around 158 kilojoules per mole, it will be around 151 kilojoules per mole. As far as chlorine is concerned, it will be, yes, it is 242 kilojoules per mole. Yes, 242 kilojoules per mole, and it will be 192 kilojoules per mole. Brominally 192 kilojoules per mole ಇದೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ bond dissociation enthalpy varies like this. Expect ಮಾಡಬಹುದು why that bond dissociation enthalpy of fluorine is less than chlorine ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಇಷ್ಟೇ ಬರೀಬೇಕು. Because of the very small size of fluorine atom, that is the lone pair of electrons over the bonded atoms in fluorine molecule undergo repulsion, and that decreases energy required to break the bond. Therefore, bond dissociation enthalpy of fluorine is less than chlorine and bromine. And of course, this is what we call it as, yes, it is bond dissociation enthalpy. As I said, that will be directly related to the reactivity there. As the bond dissociation enthalpy decreases, ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? Reactivity increases. As the bond dissociation enthalpy, yes, it is decreases, reactivity increases. And of course, halogens are highly reactive because of that low bond dissociation enthalpy. At the same time, they are having high electron gain enthalpy. ಅದು ಕೂಡ ಒಂದು ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟರ್. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಬರೀ ಒಂದು ಫ್ಯಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಇಂದ ನಾವು ಸುಮಾರು ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋಕೆ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. The reactivity will be decided by many factors. Bond dissociation enthalpy, electron gain enthalpy, and of course hydration enthalpy ಅಂತ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ yes, it is reactivity order will be, yes, it is varies like this. Fluorine to be more reactive than chlorine, chlorine to be more reactive than bromine, bromine to be more reactive than iodine. This is the reactivity order because of low bond dissociation enthalpy, high electron gain enthalpy, high electronegativity, high hydration enthalpy. ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ರೀಸನ್ಸ್ ಈ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಟಿವಿಟಿಗೆ ಕಾರಣ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Yes, and the combined effect of all the things. Okay, na? So this is what we call reactivity order. That is, next topic is oxidation states. Oxidation states of group 17 elements. Now that the electronic configuration of group 17 will be NS2, NP5, and of course on the basis of that only I can decide the oxidation states. And of course on the basis of this, what I can say that is halogens with NS2, NP5 configuration. If it gains one electron, yes, it becomes X minus. After gaining one electron, the configuration becomes NS2, NP6. Because of that, the expected oxidation state in the case of halogens will be -1. That is one of the oxidation states, right? And apart from that, these halogens can also exhibit, yes, it is positive oxidation states, especially when they come in contact with highly electronegative elements like fluorine and oxygen. Yes, and the possible oxidations can be explained on the basis of electronic configuration. Look at this in the, yes, it is ground state. That is ground state electronic configuration of, yes, it is group 17 will be, yes, it is NS2 with the 2 electrons. This is NS2 there. Another is NP5. NP is characterized by, yes, it is 5 electrons. That is, this is what we call it as, this is NP subshell, 5 electrons in NP subshell according to Und's rule. Then we have ND also, and of course D subshell not available in the case of fluorine. Except fluorine, all elements will have D subshell. Yes, this is electronic configuration, and due to the presence of one unpaired electron, I can expect +1 oxidation state. That unpaired electron can be shared with other species. Apart from that, there are 7 electrons in the valency shell. After gaining 1 electron, it becomes NS2, NP6 configuration. Because of that, one more possible oxidation state is -1. This ground state electronic configuration NS2, NP5 corresponds to the +1 and -1 oxidation states. This configuration corresponds to the +1 and -1 oxidation state in the case of group 17 elements. And if I say that, if energy is provided, that is in the first excited state, what is that electronic configuration of halogens in the first excited state? One electron from NP is shifted to, yes, it is ND there. One electron from NP is shifted to ND there. If energy is provided, that is in the first excited state of atom there. Look at the configuration. Here we have 2, but look at that NP there. We shifted 1 electron from NP to ND. Out of, yes, it is 5 electrons. Now you are left with only 4 electrons, 1 electron ಈ ಕಡೆ ಬಂದಿದೆ. ಆಗ look at that, the configuration here, and because of that there are 3 unpaired electrons there, and these 3 unpaired electrons correspond to the oxidation state of +3 there. So ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ another possible oxidation state due to the first excited state electronic configuration, upon providing energy, 1 electron is shifted from Np to Nd. That makes, yes, it is 3 unpaired electrons to be available for bonding. Therefore, one more oxidation state is +3 there. If you provide some more amount of energy, that is in the second excited state of, yes, it is the atom, the electronic configuration will be, yes, it is in the second excited state, the electron from Np, one more electron from Np is shifted to Nd there. One more electron from Np will be shifted to Nd there, and of course again agutte unpairing of electron starts, and of course ee ತರ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ as usual paired electrons ಇದೆ. Look at this. ಈಗ in the d subshell, look at this, here we have one unpaired electron in the d subshell. Now we got 2 more unpaired electrons. ಈ electron ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, total 5 unpaired electrons. That corresponds to the +5 oxidation state, that is shifting of electron during the second excited state. ನೀವು energy, sufficient energy provide ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ one more electron will be shifted from Np to Nd there. 5 unpaired electrons are available. That accounts for +5 oxidation state. And similarly, in the third excited state, yes, electronic configuration ನೋಡಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, in the third excited state, you are going to provide some more amount of energy. Then electron will be shifted from Ns to Nd there. ಆಗ unpairing of electrons in Ns takes place. Unpairing of electrons in Ns takes place. Look at this. Now, how many unpaired electrons are available now? Look at that. Yes. Okay, na? ಏನಾಯ್ತು ಈಗ ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? Yes, it is 3 unpaired electrons in D, 3 in P, and 1 in S. Totally 7 electrons, and that accounts for +7 oxidation state. Yes. So ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ the possible oxidation states in group 17 will be -1, +1, +3, +5, and of course +7. Depending upon the nature of the element with which they are reacting, the stabilities of the oxidation state will be changing. Depending upon the nature of the element with which they are reacting, the stability of the oxidation state will be changing. And of course, as far as fluorine is concerned, in the case of fluorine, we don't have any d subshells. Fluorine alli d subshells illa andaga I can't expect positive oxidation states in fluorine, and therefore fluorine exhibits only one oxidation state, that is F minus. -1 is the only one oxidation state that you can expect in the case of fluorine due to non-availability of d orbitals. At the same time, fluorine is highly electronegative, but no one can remove electron from fluorine. ಎಷ್ಟು highly electronegative ಅಥವಾ ಎಷ್ಟು small size of fluorine, ಎಷ್ಟು small atom ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ no element in the periodic table can remove electron from fluorine. Because of that, it never exhibits positive oxidation states, and of course, and that is non-availability of d orbitals and very small size, high ionization enthalpy, and high electronegativity of, yes, it is fluorine atom is the main reason that why fluorine doesn't exhibit positive oxidation states. And of course, as far as halogens are concerned, halogens exhibit higher oxidation states when they come in contact with highly electronegative elements like oxygen. For example, chlorine will be in the form of, yes, it is ಇಲ್ಲಿ chlorine ಅಲ್ಲಿ +7 state ಇದೆ. ಯಾವಾಗ? When it comes in contact with oxygen there. Chlorine can form, yes, it is +7 state when it comes in contact with fluorine there. Again, iodine will exhibit +7 oxidation state when it comes in contact with fluorine there. That means halogens, they form, yes, it is the compounds in higher oxidation state when they come in contact with highly electronegative elements like oxygen and fluorine. And of course, this is what we call interhalogen compounds in the character. These two are interhalogen compounds that we'll see in the later discussion. Okay, now? So this is what we call oxidation states of, yes, it is group 17 elements, right? At this moment, we'll go for the oxidizing property there. Oxidizing property of, yes, it is group 17 elements, right? Before that, I'll go for the reactivity there. Yes. ಇದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮೊದಲು ನಾನು reactivity of halogens ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. I already said that is fluorine is more reactive than chlorine. Chlorine is more reactive than bromine. Bromine is more reactive than iodine. That's because of, yes, it is low, yes, it is bond dissociation enthalpy. The high reactivity of, yes, it is halogens is due to the low bond dissociation enthalpy. And of course, high electron gain enthalpy there. High electron gain enthalpy is another reason for the reactivity of halogens. And of course, third one is, that is high electronegativity of halogens. Because of all these things, halogens are highly reactive. And of course, I said already, one more, that is high hydration enthalpy and high hydration enthalpy. The combined effect of all these will be, this will be the, because of combined effect of all these factors, this will be the reactivity order of halogens. This will be the reactivity order of halogens. Fluorine is highly reactive, iodine is least reactive. Yes. Now at this moment we'll go for the, yes, it is oxidizing properties. If I say any oxidizing agent, oxidizing agent undergoes reduction. Yes. And as far as halogens are concerned, that is fluorine will take up 2 electrons and becomes 2F minus. This is reduction of fluorine. If I take chlorine, it will take 2 electrons and becomes 2Cl minus. This is reduction of chlorine. Bromine will take up 2 electrons and becomes, yes, it is 2Br minus. This is reduction of bromine. Iodine will take up 2 electrons and becomes 2I minus. This is what we call reduction there. Anything that undergoes reduction is a very good oxidizing agent. Therefore, yes, it is that ability to undergo reduction will be decided by, yes, it is SRP values, that is reduction potential values. Reduction potential values of fluorine will be, yes, it is 2.87 volts. That is reduction potential of fluorine there. And as far as chlorine is concerned, it will be, yes, it is 1.37 volts plus there. Okay, now? If it is bromine, it is E0 value will be 1.08 volts. If it is iodine, it will be 0.54 volts. These are the reduction potential values. On the basis of this reduction potential, all are positive. On the basis of these reduction potential values, I can decide that fluorine has got high SRP, therefore high tendency to undergo reduction. And therefore, fluorine seems to be a powerful oxidizing agent because of that high SRP. Therefore, oxidizing ability, or you can say oxidizing power of the halogens bandaga, fluorine to be more oxidizing agent than, yes, it is chlorine to be more oxidizing agent than bromine to be more oxidizing than iodine there. Left side reactants they are all undergoing reduction, therefore I can call them as oxidizing agents. Oxidizing agents. That is I2 there. Oxidizing agents. Actually, they undergo reduction. If I reverse the reaction, this reaction reverse madre, F minus undergoes oxidation, Cl minus undergo oxidation, Br minus undergo oxidation, and I minus undergo oxidation in the reverse direction. And of course, oxidizing, these are all oxidizing agents, and of course, the products will be reducing agents. Because products undergo oxidation in the reverse direction. Hagagi, reactants enadru oxidizing agents adre, products enagutte reducing agents agutte. I said fluorine is powerful oxidizing agent, therefore F minus is weakest reducing agent. I2 is weakest oxidizing agent, therefore I minus is strongest reducing agent. In the case of iodine, tendency of gaining electron is less alva. Iodine has got less tendency to undergo reduction. Means what? I minus has got more tendency to undergo oxidation. Iodine tendency to undergo reduction least irodrinda corresponding ion I minus has got more tendency to undergo oxidation. Therefore, anything that undergoes oxidation easily is a reducing agent. Therefore, the reducing power of the ions will be reducing power of the ions will be, I minus is strong reducing agent compared to Br minus, and of course stronger than Cl minus, that is stronger than F minus. Fluorine strongest oxidizing agent, therefore corresponding ion is weakest reducing agent. Y2 is weakest oxidizing agent, therefore corresponding ion is strongest reducing agent. This is the order of reducing power, this will be the order of oxidizing power. ಇವೆಲ್ಲವೂ ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೈಸಿಂಗ್ ಏಜೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ರೆಡ್ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ಏಜೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಎಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್. ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಇದನ್ನ ರಿವರ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ I2 plus 2i is equal to 2i minus ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಏನಿದು ಪ್ಲಸ್ 0.54 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ರಿವರ್ಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ 2i minus ಹೌದಾ ಗಿವ್ಸ್ ಏನು I2 plus 2 electrons. ಇದನ್ನ ರಿವರ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಆಗೇನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಈ ನಾಟ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಮೈನಸ್ 0.54 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಹೌದಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಟೆಂಡೆನ್ಸಿ ಟು ಅಂಡರ್ಗೋ ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೇಷನ್ ಎಷ್ಟಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಮೈನಸ್ ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೇಷನ್ ಪೊಟೆನ್ಶಿಯಲ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಮೈನಸ್ 0.54 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೇಷನ್ ಪೊಟೆನ್ಶಿಯಲ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಮೈನಸ್ 2.87 volts ಆಗುತ್ತಾ, ವಿಚ್ ಈಸ್ ಹೈಯೆಸ್ಟ್. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಹೈಯೆಸ್ಟ್. ಲೆಸ್ ನೆಗೆಟಿವ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಹೈಯೆಸ್ಟ್ ತಾನೆ. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೇಷನ್ ಪೊಟೆನ್ಶಿಯಲ್ ಆಫ್ I minus is highest. ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೇಷನ್ ಪೊಟೆನ್ಶಿಯಲ್ ಆಫ್ F minus is least. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ I minus is reducing agent, strongest reducing agent. F minus is weakest reducing agent. And of course, because of that high reactivity of fluorine, fluorine displaces remaining halogens from their salts. Fluorine displaces remaining halogens. The oxidizing power of fluorine is highest anta heladnalla. That can be justified by using this reaction. That is, when fluorine reacts with Cl minus, and you are going to get yes it is 2F minus plus Cl2 there. Nodi, when fluorine reacts with chloride there, ಹೌದಾ ಅಥವಾ ಯಾವುದೋ ಮೆಟಲ್ ಹ್ಯಾಲೈಡ್, ಓಕೆನಾ, ಹಾಗೇನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಫ್ಲೋರಿನ್ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇಸಸ್ ಕ್ಲೋರಿನ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಕ್ಲೋರೈಡ್ಸ್ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಫ್ಲೋರಿನ್ ಮೋರ್ ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೈಸಿಂಗ್ ದನ್ ಕ್ಲೋರಿನ್. ಹಾಗೇನೆ ಫ್ಲೋರಿನ್ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇಸಸ್ bromine from, yes it is bromide. Fluorine displaces bromine from bromide. This is because fluorine is more oxidizing than bromine. Again, fluorine displaces iodine. Fluorine displaces iodine from, yes it is iodides. And in the same manner, look at this chlorine that reacts with bromide to form, yes it is 2Cl minus, yes. And of course Br2. Again, if I add chlorine to F minus, no reaction. Because oxidizing power of fluorine is greater than chlorine. Chlorine doesn't displace fluorine from fluoride, but it displaces bromine from bromide because oxidizing power of chlorine is greater than bromine. Again, chlorine displaces, yes it is iodine from its salt because oxidizing power of chlorine is greater than iodine. Again, bromine, okay na, displaces, yes it is iodine, yes it is bromine displaces iodine from iodides. Adre bromine never displace chlorine. ಹೌದಾ bromine never displace chlorine. ಇದು ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಯಾಕೆ ಹೇಳಿ ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೈಸಿಂಗ್ ಪವರ್ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ಲೋರಿನ್ ಇಸ್ ಗ್ರೇಟರ್ ದನ್ ಬ್ರೋಮಿನ್ ಅಥವಾ ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೈಸಿಂಗ್ ಪವರ್ ಆಫ್ ಬ್ರೋಮಿನ್ ಇಸ್ ಲೆಸ್ ದನ್ ಕ್ಲೋರಿನ್. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಇದು ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು ಫ್ಲೋರಿನ್ ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಕ್ಲೋರಿನ್ ಬ್ರೋಮಿನ್ ಅಯೋಡಿನ್ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಫ್ಲೋರಿನ್ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇಸಸ್ ದ ರಿಮೈನಿಂಗ್ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ chlorine, bromine, iodine from its salts. Chlorine displaces the elements below it, bromine and iodine from its salt. Bromine displaces only iodine. So because of that variation in the oxidation properties. Yes, so agagi, so this is what we call it as the oxidizing property of, yes it is halogens. Apart from that, this fluorine is so powerful oxidizing agent to know it even displaces oxygen from water. When fluorine comes in contact with water, yes it is oxygen gas is coming out, and of course it gets converted to F minus and H plus ions are released. ಹೌದಾ ಅಂಡ್ ಟು ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಓಟಿ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ 2H2 ಹಾಕಿ ಹೈಡ್ರೋಜನ್ 4 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, 4H ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಹಾಕಿ F2 ಇದೆಲ್ಲ, ಹಾಗಾಗಿ 2F ಮೈನಸ್. ಎಸ್, ಈಕ್ವೇಶನ್ ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಯಾಕೆ ಹೇಳಿ 2 ಮೈನಸ್ ಪ್ಲಸ್ 4 ಇದೆ, ಹಾಗಾಗಿ 4F ಮೈನಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಹಾಗಾಗಿ 2F2 ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಈಕ್ವೇಶನ್ ಇಸ್ ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ when fluorine reacts with water, oxygen gas is liberated with the formation of, that means when fluorine is more oxidizing than oxygen, therefore fluorine displaces oxygen from water. Oxidizing power of fluorine is greater than oxygen, therefore fluorine displaces oxygen from water. And of course if it comes to the chlorine and bromine, they react with, yes it is water there, and chlorine reacts with water to give hydrochloric acid and HOCl, hypochlorous acid we call it as. HOCl is hypochlorous acid. Similarly that bromine reacts with water to give HBr, and of course hypobromous acid there. Hypobromous acid, and of course iodine doesn't react with water there. Iodine doesn't react with water there. Yes, it will be insoluble in water there. And apart from that, as far as yes, it is fluorine and chlorine are concerned. When they are dissolved in water, they react with water. Whereas yes, it is bromine and of course iodine. Even bromine slightly reacts with water, but iodine is insoluble in water. Yes, okay, now iodine is insoluble in water, and of course bromine and iodine, they are really soluble in yes, it is solvents like carbon tetrachloride, chloroform, carbon disulfide. Okay, now these are the very good solvents for bromine and yes, it is iodine. They are highly soluble in carbon tetrachloride, chloroform, and carbon disulfide to form colored solutions. So that is property of yes, it is halogens here. And of course, as I said, yes, it is iodine is weakest oxidizing agent. Iodine is weakest oxidizing agent, but corresponding ion iodide ideyala, that is strongest reducing agent anta helidnala. Hagagi when iodide comes in contact with oxygen in acid medium, you are going to get iodine there. Iodine is weakest oxidizing agent. Corresponding ion is the strongest reducing agent. Hagagi when iodide comes in contact with oxygen oxidizes iodide, means iodide reduces oxygen, and of course you are going to get iodine, and of course along with the formation of water there. This is what we call it as reaction. Now yaಕೆ reaction barde andre 4 hydrogen alva, 4H plus, and of course 2 amines. ಇವೆರಡು reactions ಅನ್ನು ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ. Here fluorine is powerful oxidizing agent, removes oxygen, yes, and you are going to get F minus and H plus. This is weakest reducing agent. F minus is weakest reducing agent. Other I minus is strongest reducing agent. ಹಾಗೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, simply reverse here. ಈ reaction reverse ಮಾಡಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ F minus ಬದಲಾಗಿ yes it is ಏನು ಮಾಡಿ, that is 4I minus, it will be 2I2. 4I minus and 2I2 ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ 4F minus ಇದೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ 4I minus ಬರಲಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ O2 ಇದೆ, O2 ಬರಲಿ, 4H plus 4H plus ಬರಲಿ. ಇದು ನೋಡಿ F2 2I2, 2H2 2H2 ಎರಡು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿ. Here fluorine is a powerful oxidizing agent, I minus is a powerful reducing agent. ಇವೆರಡನ್ನು ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಬರ್ತಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಓಕೆನಾ? ಸೊ ಹಿಯರ್ ಇದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ನಾನು ತಿಳ್ಕೋಬಹುದು, fluorine is powerful oxidizing agent, whereas iodide is powerful reducing agent. So this is what we call it as oxidizing properties of fluorine there. Yes, oxidizing properties of halogens there. Okay na? So that is what we call it as oxidizing properties, right? Now at this moment, we'll go to the one more chemical property, that is reactivity with hydrogen. When halogens react with hydrogen, that leads to the formation of hydrogen halides of the type. And of course we have, yes, it is that is what we call it as hydrogen fluoride. Yes, monohydrides of halogens you can call it as, or you can say hydrogen chloride, or you can say hydrogen bromide, or you can say hydrogen iodide. These are the halides of halogens, when they are formed when halogens react with hydrogen there. Just like group 15 elements formed trihydrides, group 16 elements formed dihydrides, group 17 elements will form monohydrides. H of HCl, HBr and HI there. Once again you are supposed to compare bond enthalpy, bond length, thermal stability, acidic property and reducing property of hydrides, or you can say hydrogen halides. And ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, on moving down the group ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, atomic size ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Just imagine there, you connect hydrogen to each atom there. Yes, ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಈಗ, as the atomic size increases ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, bond length increases. ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳಿದಿನಲ್ಲ, ಅಟಾಮಿಕ್ ಸೈಜ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಬಾಂಡ್ ಇದು ಏನಿದು ಫ್ಲೋರಿನ್, ಇದೇನಿದು ಕ್ಲೋರಿನ್, ಇದು ಬ್ರೋಮಿನ್, ಇದು ಅಯೋಡಿನ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ, ಅಟಾಮಿಕ್ ಸೈಜ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಬಾಂಡ್ ಲೆಂತ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಬಾಂಡ್ ಲೆಂತ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆದ್ರೆ energy required to break the bond decreases, therefore bond enthalpy decreases, thermal stability decreases. If thermal stability decreases, bond can be easily broken, therefore acidic strength increases on moving down the group, and of course reducing property also increases. Okay na? Hagagi first one is, yes, it is bond length. How that bond length varies from fluorine to iodine andre, that is HF bond length is smaller than HCl, smaller than HBr, smaller than HI. Bond length of HI bond is very large because of that high atomic size. Therefore, as bond length increases, bond enthalpy decreases. That is second point. That is bond enthalpy andre energy required to break the bond decreases. Hagadre small bond alva. Therefore, bond energy required to break the bond is highest in the case of fluorine. The opposite agate. That is as atomic size increases, bond length increases, energy required to break the bond decreases. Hagagi your HF fluorine being a small atom, bond length is small, bond enthalpy is high. That is howda. The third one is thermal stability. Bond length ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, the energy required to break the bond decreases. Therefore, thermal stability decreases. Therefore, which is highly stable? HF is highly stable. ಹೌದಾ? HF is highly stable. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಬಾಂಡ್ ಲೆಂತ್ ಇದೆ, ಈ ಬಾಂಡ್ ನ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಕಷ್ಟ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, HF is more stable than, yes it is HCl, more stable than HBr, more stable than HI. This is thermal stability. ಹೌದಾ? And now that as the thermal stability increases, ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, acidic strength decreases ಅಲ್ವಾ? ನೋಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಾಂಡ್ ಲೆಂತ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಬಾಂಡ್ ವೀಕ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಆಗ ಇದನ್ನ ಈಸಿಯಾಗಿ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ತಾನೆ. ಅಂದಾಗ HI has got a high tendency of releasing H plus ions. ಹೌದಾ? HF has got least tendency of releasing H plus. ಯಾಕೆ ಹೇಳಿ, HF ಬಾಂಡ್ ಅನ್ನ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಕಷ್ಟ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಹಾಗಾಗಿ tendency of releasing H plus will be less. ಅಂದ್ರೆ acidic strength will be less. Therefore, HF will be less acidic than HCl, less acidic than HBr, less acidic than HI. ಈ ಲಾಜಿಕ್ ಅನ್ನ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಲಾಜಿಕ್ ಎಷ್ಟನೇ, ಬಾಂಡ್ ಲೆಂತ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆದ್ರೆ ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಟ್ರಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಟ್ರಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆದ್ರೆ ಬಾಂಡ್ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಕಷ್ಟ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ನೋಡಿ, ಬಾಂಡ್ ಲೆಂತ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇದೆ, ಫೋರ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಟ್ರಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಯ್ತು, ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಕಷ್ಟ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ H ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಈಸಿಯಾಗಿ ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಅಂದಾಗ ಅಸಿಡಿಕ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರೆಂತ್ ಕೂಡ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಒನ್ ಈಸ್ ರೆಡ್ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟಿ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ರೆಡ್ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟಿ ಈಸ್ ವಾಟ್? ಎಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಟು ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಹೈಡ್ರೋಜನ್. ರೆಡ್ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಎಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಟು ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಹೈಡ್ರೋಜನ್. HF is a strong bond. ಅಂದಾಗೇನು, ಎಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಟು ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಹೈಡ್ರೋಜನ್ decreases. Therefore, reducing property of HF is less than HCl, less than HBr, less than HI. ಅಂದ್ರೆ HI is the strongest reducing agent. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಾಂಡ್ ಲೆಂತ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದೆ, ಬಾಂಡ್ ಅನ್ನ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ಈಸಿಯಾಗಿ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ HI releases hydrogen easily. Therefore, it is powerful reducing agent. So this is what we call it as the properties of hydrides of halogens. That is ಅಥವಾ hydrogen halides. ಹಾಕ್ಬೋದಲ್ಲ? Now at this moment we'll go for the one more property, that is reactivity with oxygen there. Yes, reactivity with oxygen, right? You know that halogens can react with, yes it is oxygen to form, yes it is to form respective oxides. You know, for example, you know, as far as oxides of halogens are concerned, right? That is oxides of iodine will be more stable than oxides of chlorine. It will be more stable than oxides of bromine. This is the order that you have to remember. For example, one of the oxides of iodine will be I2O5 is more stable than Cl2O5 is more stable than Br2O5. ಯಾಕಪ್ಪ I2O5 ತುಂಬಾ ಸ್ಟೇಬಲ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, iodine is least electronegative, oxygen is highly electronegative. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ electronegativity difference is large, force of attraction will be strong, and the molecule is highly stable. And ಜೊತೆಗೆ here it is electronegativity decreases from iodine to, electronegativity increases from iodine to bromine, and of course electronegativity difference decreases. ಹೌದಾ? ಇಲ್ಲಿ electronegativity difference ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದೆ, ಇವೆರಡರಲ್ಲಿ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇದೆ. ಜೊತೆಗೆ chlorine has got high tendency to undergo multiple bonding compared to bromine because of its very small size. Because of that electronegativity difference, ability to undergo multiple bond formation, and of course electronegativity. Because of all these three because of all these three factors, stability of oxides of iodine will be greater than oxides of chlorine. Oxides of chlorine will be greater than, yes, it is stability of oxides of bromine. Or you can say for a given halogen atom, that is Cl2O7, where chlorine is in highest oxidation state, is more stable than Cl2O5, where chlorine is in +5 state, that is more stable than Cl2O3, where chlorine is in the form of +3 state, that is more stable than Cl2O, that is in +2 state, yes, that is +1 state. Nodi, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ನೋಡಿ, ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, as oxidation number decreases, ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, stability decreases. A halogen in its highest oxidation state will be highly stable. ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ highest oxidation state ಅಲ್ಲಿ atomic size is small, ಆಗೇನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, covalent character increases. There is a strong covalent bond between chlorine and oxygen. Therefore, in highest oxidation state, oxides will be highly stable for a given halogen atom. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ, halogen atoms ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ halogen ಸೇಮ್ ಇದ್ದಾಗ oxidation number ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, stability of oxide ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. And of course, as far as yes, it is chlorine is concerned, chlorine can form oxides of the type chlorine monoxide, yes, it is chlorine dioxide, or you can say Cl2O6, chlorine trioxide or dichlorine trioxide, and you can say chlorine heptoxide, Cl2O7. These are the oxides that you can expect in the case of chlorine. Among these, and all these oxides are highly reactive and of course powerful oxidizing agents. And because of that, this chlorine monoxide and ClO2, they are used as a bleaching agents, especially in paper industries, in order to bleach the pulp of the paper there. Paper pulp anna, paper industries alli idanna pulp anna ಏನಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬ್ಲೀಚ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಈ ಕ್ಲೋರಿನ್ ಮೊನಾಕ್ಸೈಡ್ ಮತ್ತು ಕ್ಲೋರಿನ್ ಡೈಆಕ್ಸೈಡ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. Highly reactive and of course they tend to undergo explosion. Similarly, we have bromine monoxide, we have bromine dioxide, or you can say we have bromine trioxide like this. Okay, now, and these oxides are available only in low temperature. Oxides of bromine will be available at low temperature. Similarly, we have I2O4, we have I2O5, and we have I2O7. These are the oxides of iodine. Generally, they are solids, and among these, I2O5 is a very good oxidizing agent used for the estimation of carbon monoxide. I2O5 is used for the estimation of carbon monoxide in the quantitative analysis. First you see organic chemistry, then discuss ಮಾಡಿದೀವಿ. In the estimation of carbon monoxide, we make use of this particular iodine pentoxide. Yes, so this is what we call it as reactivity with oxygen, and halogens can form different types of oxides upon reacting with oxygen. Among the oxides, oxides of iodine are more stable than oxides of chlorine. Oxides of chlorine will be more stable than oxides of bromine. I just quoted three factors. One, it is ability to undergo multiple bonding, large electronegativity difference, and of course electron gain enthalpy. Because of these three factors, the stability variation will be like this. Okay, now at this moment we'll go for the action of metals there, right? Action of metals there, right? And of course, when metals, yes, it is react with halogens, you're going to get, yes, it is metal halides. You're going to get metal halides. When metals react with halogens, you're going to get metal halides. For example, when magnesium reacts with bromine, you're going to get magnesium bromide. Some metals will form ionic compounds with halogens. Some metals will form covalent compounds with metals. Among these, that is ionic character will be metal fluorides are more ionic than metal chlorides. Metal chlorides are more ionic than metal bromides. Metal bromides are more ionic than metal iodides. Yakandre from fluorine to iodine, electronegativity decreases. Therefore, here there is a large difference in electronegativity values. Therefore, metal fluorides are highly ionic compared to the, yes, it is metal iodides. Metal iodides are highly covalent. ಇದು ಅಯೋನಿಕ್ ಕಾಂಪೌಂಡ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇದು ಕೋವಲೆಂಟ್ ಕಾಂಪೌಂಡ್. ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅಯೋನಿಕ್ ಕ್ಯಾರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಕೋರ್ಸ್ ಮೆಟಲ್ ಫ್ಲೋರೈಡ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಹೈಲಿ ಅಯೋನಿಕ್. Once again, reason is electronegativity difference there. Apart from that, if the metal exhibits more than one oxidation states idre, So for example, if I take that is PbCl4 and PbCl2 ಇವೆರಡರಲ್ಲಿ PbCl4 and PbCl2 and of course SbCl5 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮತ್ತೆ SbCl3 ಓಕೆನಾ. ಆಮೇಲೆ UF4 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮತ್ತೆ UF6 ಓಕೆನಾ. ಜೊತೆಗೆ we have one more that is SnCl4 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮತ್ತೆ SnCl2. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಗಮನಿಸಿ, your lead is in +4 state and +2 state. Tin is in +4 state and +2 state. Your antimony is in +5 state and here it is +3 state. Uranium +4 state and it is +6 state. If a metal exhibits more than one oxidation state, then that metal in the highest oxidation state will form covalent compound. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ PbCl4 is more covalent than PbCl2. ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ, out of Pb+4 and Pb+2, which is smaller? Pb+4 is smaller. Yes, that is Pb+4 is smaller than. Yes, it is Pb+2. And ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, according to Fuzzen's rule, smaller cation will have high polarizing power. Polarizing power ಅಂದ್ರೆ yes, it is charge to size ratio. ಹೌದಾ? Polarizing power ಅಂದ್ರೆ charge to size, positive charge divided by extent of positive magnitude of positive charge divided by size. ಈ polarizing power ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆದ್ರೆ covalent bonding ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ನೋಡಿ, ಸೈಜ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ, Pb+4 is smaller than Pb+2 ಅಲ್ವಾ, ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಸೈಜ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆದ್ರೆ polarizing power ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ Pb+4 is more covalent than Pb+2. Similarly, SnCl4 +4 ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, more covalent than SnCl2. SbCl5 is more covalent than SbCl3. UF6, where uranium is in +4 state, here it is in +6 state. ಹೌದಾ? And of course UF6 is more covalent than UF4. ಯಾಕೆ ಹೇಳಿ? your UF6 ಅಂದ್ರೆ oxidation number is +6. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ size of U+6 is small compared to the size of U+4. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ as the size decreases, polarizing power increases. According to Fuzzen's rule, smaller cation will form covalent bonding, bigger cation will form ionic bonding. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಇವೆಲ್ಲವೂ ಕೂಡ ಏನು more covalent than this, ಅಥವಾ all these compounds are more ionic than this. ಹಿಂಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. PbCl2 is more ionic than PbCl4, ಅಥವಾ SnCl2 is more ionic than SnCl4. SbCl3 is more ionic than SbCl5. ಹೀಗೂ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. Smaller the cation, greater will be the tendency to undergo covalent bonding. ಹೌದಾ? ಹಾಗಾಗಿ all these compounds are more covalent than this. So this is what we call reactivity with metals. And that's all about, yes, it is chemical properties of group 17 elements. In the next video, we'll go for some individual discussions like chlorine, hydrochloric acid, and interhalogen compounds. Agboದಲ್ಲ? And that is what we call it as group 17 elements. Agboದಲ್ಲ? Thank you, right?